What's up, you guys? I'm here with a new video today, and I'm here to bring you guys my top 10 favorite banned/forbidden cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! This was a video suggested to me by multiple subscribers, so I definitely wanted to bring this to you guys. My list might be different than a lot of people's. I'm not sure. I haven't watched a lot of other channels like top 10 banned cards. I'm sure there's some similarities and whatnot. The reason I chose these cards is basically a story behind all of them. Like what I try to do with my top 10s is I try to have just like a little personal story about the cards, like why they have so much meaning or why they're my favorites. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy it. Something a little different, and don't worry, there'll be more competitive meta content coming soon. So yeah, let's get into it. Number 10, we have Metamorphosis. This one is just pretty simple. GOAT format was the nuts. It was amazing, and it's still a format that can be played today. Metamorphosis on the Scapegoats turned into 1,000 Restrict, which is now unbanned. I mean, come on, like the card is at 1. Like one Metamorphosis would have been kind of cool just to try to Metamorphosis up the Scapegoat, and boom, there's 1,000 Restrict. So yeah, so Metamorphosis definitely makes number 10 for me. I love this card, and I love playing GOAT format. And whenever my friends have their GOAT decks and we get to play GOAT format, it's just really reminiscent of what Yu-Gi-Oh used to be like. So yeah, so definitely number 10 is Metamorphosis for me. Number 9 is Imperial Order. Absolutely love this card. This card was nuts back in the day. The fact that you could just basically negate spells, or excuse me, during this time it says negate the effects of all magic cards. So yeah, that's how old this card is from Pharaoh's Servant. And what I loved about it is that the cost was to pay 700 during the standby, so you didn't have to. It was optional. You could choose to pay it or not. What was great is that you could use it as a lockout card for several turns, and then when you were ready to make your final push to win, you could then just turn it off, play your spell cards, and just basically win the game with your monsters, everything, etc. So yeah, I love this card. Could I ever see it coming back? I'm not actually sure. It's been gone for so long, I don't know if they ever would bring it back, but if they did, that would be awesome. So yeah, number 9 for me is definitely Imperial Order. Number 8 is Morphing Jar. I love Morphing Jar. Main reason I love Morphing Jar is because of Dark World. I loved playing Morphing Jar in Dark World. It wasn't always a main deck choice, definitely not a main deck choice. It was always a side deck choice. It was just a really great card to have in the side, and the few times I did test it out in the main, it actually worked pretty well for me, basically working as another card destruction, which of course is, just the nuts in the deck. So yeah, so definitely Morphing Jar makes my cut. Also, shout outs to Paul and Jar Cooper. When this got banned, it was crazy, and it was because any deck that can deck you out, any kind of deck that leads to like a degenerate sloop or something, if Morphing Jar had something to do with it, it got the axe, and that's what sucks. But I always love Morphing Jar, and another reason is because back in the day, the only Morphing Jar that you could get, I believe, was a tournament pack. I believe it was either 2 or 4. And the card was impossible to get. The card was like $200+. It was nuts. It might have even cost more than that. So very few people ever had one, and of course I didn't have one. When it finally got reprinted, I was so happy because I was like, yes, I finally have a Morphing Jar. And you would see the top cut decks from like 2004 have Morphing Jar. It's like, damn, like I wish I could have that. And when it finally came to where everyone could get it, it was just great. So yeah, Morphing Jar definitely makes my cut for number 8. Going to number 7, we have Super Polymerization. I love Super Polymerization for a number of reasons. Number 1, I love heroes. First and foremost, I love heroes. That's number 1. Number 2, I love this card when I played Artifact Shaddolls in 2015. I main decked it, and the card was just insane. The fact that playing against the Tellarknights, playing against the mirror match, if you resolve Super Poly, it was just game. Especially against the Tellarknights, it was just insane. They put their guy up, you Super Poly him, make a construct, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So yeah, I love the card. I loved it in Heroes. The fact that you could just, pretty much dodge anything, and the fact that, you can't even do anything about this card. That was the best part, is because, effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. I mean, come on, like that bottom line of text is just insane. Like it just makes it for an unreal like Yu-Gi-Oh card. Anything to where they can't respond to it is just nuts. So I definitely don't see this card coming back anytime soon, but who knows? Maybe in the future it will. So yeah, so definitely Super Polymerization. Now on to, I believe, number 6, Giant Trunade. I love Giant Trunade. It's a Joey card, and I love this card. I chose this card over Heavy Storm, over Harpy's Feather Duster, because the fact that even though it's not super relevant right now, the fact if Trunade ever came back, it is not susceptible to Starlight Road. It's not susceptible to Huge revolution is over. This card was just insane because back in the day, when you saw Trunade, your hopes and dreams just crushed because you knew I'm probably about to lose. Fish OTK, if they Trunaded you, you lost. Infernity, if they Trunaded you, you lost. Like, it was just insane what would happen when Trunade was resolved. And the card was just, the card was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And could I see it coming back? I actually could see it coming back. I don't know, like, how relevant it would be. Some decks play back row, some decks don't play back row, so for that reason, Trunade might not be the best card, but back in the day, it sure as hell was. It was an amazing card, and I'd actually love to see it come back one day. So yeah, definitely Trunade makes the cut. Now on to number 5, Monster Reborn. This should come as a no-brainer. I love this card since day one. Since the first starter deck Kaiba I had, since I first read the card, the fact like, oh my god, I can bring back a monster. I can bring back any monster, either in my graveyard or my opponent's graveyard. I can reborn freaking Blue Eyes White Dragon. Like, since that day, since I read that card and I realized how powerful it was, Monster Reborn has just always been one of my favorite cards. It's also because it's blue. Everyone knows my favorite color is blue, and the fact that, this card was just insane over the years. The things you could do with it were just so ridiculous. Being able to reborn anything in your opponent's graveyard, within reason, obviously. There are some cards, you couldn't bring back, but the fact that Monster Reborn can pretty much get you anything is just insane. And I believe Monster Reborn is pretty much a staple in every Yu-Gi-Oh deck, outside of, I believe, Chain Burn, and I'd have to think of some other decks like Countdown and decks like that. I believe it was a staple in pretty much every other deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the card was just nuts. And I don't ever see it coming back, unfortunately, because being able to take something from your opponent's graveyard is just too damn powerful. But it'll always, have a special place in my heart because I just love this card, and I have since the first day I saw it back in 2002. So yeah, Monster Reborn definitely makes the cut. On to number 4, Solemn Judgment. My opinion, Solemn Judgment is probably one of the best cards ever printed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Most people are going to say, you're out of your fucking mind, get out of here. Here's the reason, you guys. Solemn Judgment can stop anything. Now, I know people are going to say, so can Scolding. Yeah, well, Scolding has that little thing where, it has to be the only set card. I mean, that's not that bad. But Solemn Judgment literally could stop anything. It could turn the tide of a game like that. It literally did not matter. And back years and years ago, you could actually play 3. And best believe, decks played 3 because it was the best card. Solemn Judgmenting a Solemn Judgment could win you the game. It could turn the tide of a game so fast, and it was just an amazing card. And the fact that it can stop anything is just amazing. And the fact that no matter what your life points are, you can still play this card makes it one of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Scolding, Warning, Strike. Like, if you're lower than those life points, you can't even activate them. The fact that Solemn Judgment was always live, no matter what your life points were, you could have freaking 100 life points and go to 50, and you could still win the game because Solemn Judgment turned the tide. So yeah, Solemn Judgment will always be one of my favorite cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I could potentially see it coming back because all the Solemns are around at 1 or 3, so I mean, hopefully one day it'll come back. I'd like to see it come back at least to 1. So yeah, Solemn Judgment definitely makes... in my top 5 is now number 4. So now number 3, this will come as no surprise, Card Destruction. Pretty simple. This card was basically just I win when you play Dark Worlds. If you open Card Destruction, multiple Dark World monsters, it was game. It's very rare that you would resolve Card Destruction with multiple Dark World monsters and not win because the advantage you would get would be through the roof, and it would just be insane. It's also one of the most powerful cards in the game. Basically, is a reset button for the hands if your hand wasn't that good. Plus the fact, let's all remember, it won Worlds in 2013. Card Destruction, the Dragon Rulers draw the Burner and the Blaster to out the Jijaugen. Yeah, it was just the nuts. The card is insane, and I mean, I can see the card doing a lot of damage just because it's able to, it's basically able to, just like I said, as a reset button, and anything that lets you reset, basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just insane. And like I said, main reason, Dark World. I can't lie. I would love to see this card come back just so I can play it in Dark World, but I know it won't. But it's just for nostalgia reasons, plus the fact this is my starter deck Yu-Gi one, which was the second deck I got. So yeah, definitely Card Destruction. And now to number 2, Trap Dust Shoot. Love Trap Dust Shoot. Trap Dust Shoot. I played when there were 3 Trap Dust Shoots, and I remember going through all my comments looking for this card, and I found 3 of them. I was like, oh my god, this card is nuts. And being able to just, put a card back in your opponent's deck was nuts. It was just ridiculous. Trap Dust Shoot at one point became the only trap that some really good players were playing. They weren't playing any other traps. They were playing monster heavy, spell heavy decks, playing only one trap, and that trap was Trap Dust Shoot because of how important this card was. I remember being Trap Dust Shooted myself and it costing me the game because they just took the best, they took the best monster in my hand, and it really, really hurt. So Trap Dust Shoot always been one of my favorite cards. Anything that lets you, look at your opponent's hand has always been like something, that's probably the Dark World player in me has always been just like my kind of play style, being able to, manipulate the hand. So yeah, Trap Dust Shoot definitely makes number 2. Now we'll go to the honorable mentions before I do number 1. So honorable mentions will be Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, Return from the Different Dimension, and Brain Control. Brain Control, obviously, pay 800, take a monster. Basically, when you're playing Monarchs, back in the day, the Monarchs before the Monarchs, if you guys remember that, Mobius, the Stalos, Zaborg, Ryza, all the little guys. Brain Control attribute for a monster was insane. Return, obviously because I played Dragon Rulers, the card was the nuts, and also because in Dark World it was also the nuts. The ability to banish, all your guys off of gates and then just flip return and say I win was insane. Heavy, because it's heavy, let's face it. Heavy Storm basically shaped Yu-Gi-Oh! With how many back rows you could play without fear. And when the card got banned, everyone started setting cards again. When the card came back, everyone stopped setting multiple cards. So yeah, so Heavy Storm was very important in the game. And Harpy's Feather Duster, I loved it because it was a one-sided Heavy Storm. Like, I can't lie, it was a one-sided Heavy Storm that took care of problems. So yeah. And now number 1, dun, 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 Royal Oppression. Royal Oppression is without a doubt my favorite forbidden card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I loved this card, and I still do. For those of you that don't know what the card does, basically, either player can pay 800 life points to negate the special summon of a monster and or an effect that special summons a monster and destroy those cards. The fact that Royal Oppression existed, there was a time when you played Oppression Gadgets, you played 3 Royal Oppressions, and you just stopped all special summons. Yeah, your opponent could stop them too, but you were barely special summoning in that deck. The fact that Royal Oppression could turn, like I said with Solemn Judgment, could turn the tide of so many games, so could Royal Oppression. 800 life points was not a lot. The fact that you could do it multiple times was just insane, and it was, without a doubt, one of the best cards, in my opinion, in the game. I just love the card so much, and I would love to see it come back to at least 1. I would love to see what it would do for the format, because there's so much special summoning that you would just have to be really smart how you activate this card, knowing that your opponent could use it too. So playing it in a deck that doesn't special summon as much is really key. So that's all I got to say, you guys. Those are my top 10. I'll go through them real quick. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll definitely be bringing more top 10s to you guys. I also have a gold Royal Oppression too. I guess I took 2 out when I was trying to make the video. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know any other top 10s. I did get a suggestion for, I think it's top 10 like funniest archetypes that ended up combining together. I guess like dinosaurs and rabbit and, just stuff like that. I hope you guys will, just let me know what you guys would like to see. And I will definitely bring it to you guys here on the channel. And like I said, there'll be more competitive content stuff coming up soon. I haven't been able to go to locals, but I will be going hopefully this Tuesday. And hopefully top and have some interesting stories since I'll be changing up the Monarch deck. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.